watch a lot of Trick 2G back in the day. He
Yeah.
would talk about a lot of the stupid shit and whatnot to do.
Yeah, Trick was. I mean, he was entertaining, but he was also reasonably informative. It was a good place for people to get a grasp
Oh,
of a lot
this
of the
was like
basics.
season 4
Yeah,
when he did the bronze sub wars, silver sub wars. I
yeah.
took
No, I
fucking
I
notes,
started
bro.
following him around that time too.
I took
Um,
notes. He's like, never do this as a bronze player. I'm like, all right, write that
bet.
down.
Okay, so I see one, two, three, four. I see 7 possible replays. Which one did you want to start with?
um, my last 3 ranked games.
Okay, so that's Senna, Volibear, Xerath.
No, not Volibear, Senna, Xerath, and
Lux is a defeat.
yeah,
Um,
Lux.
okay.
Yeah, I want to see that too. Cause I think I had potential to literally 1v9 that game, but I kind of threw it.
Yeah, I mean we can look at all three. Um, see all support games. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Here, and I will stream my perspective as well, just so you can see what I'm looking at.
I think my biggest issue is that I like make mistakes, but I only notice it after I've already made it. So I don't know how I could have prevent myself from making that mistake.
I mean, I think that's how most people. I think that's a problem most people have with League of Legends to at least some degree, right? Like, it can be really hard to like actually properly track your mistakes in game. A lot of people have a higher like theoretical potential than they ever like pull off in their first or in their games, just because the game asks you to take so much of your active brain space to do
Yeah.
like the small stuff that most of the like macro concepts and knowledge checks and stuff will just go past most players. And that's not a downside at all. Okay. So, okay, we're invading. Invading makes sense here. I'm going to go ahead and change fog to red. Did you want to talk about draft, by the way?
You
Because we can
want
do
to do
that
that
before game.
first?
I'd rather, yeah, talk about draft before game, or at
Or
least
after?
before each game
Yeah.
individually, because I don't want
Um.
anything I say to be biased by like how the games go. Obviously, I know that
So
this is a victory, but
with draft, my thought was that we think about like first my champ type. One second, one second.
you're good.
All right, sorry. I wanted to talk about first, like, I thought the good process to talk about champ select would be to first, like, pick all the support champs, take out what I don't play, and then start talking about what do I blind pick, what do I counter pick.
Okay. Um, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let me pull up a.
And it's like, is that even a good counter pick or not? Because I think it's a good counter pick, but you might think completely different.
Yeah. Let's see. So I'm just gonna stack every champion that I could feasibly see being played as a support into a tier list here. Let me change my stream from league stream to screen stream so you can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I went on to tier maker just because it's an easy way to be able to move and drag around individual champ faces. I mean, I've seen Fiddle,
Are
but I don't really want
these?
to count
Oh,
him.
these are all.
I'm not actually tiering them. I'm just separating them out. Absolutely no ordering here. Shouldn't take too long to just go through, grab them. Probably not. Probably not worth talking about. Ivern's like the paradigm with Ivern is so weird and he's so rare that like especially in support that I don't feel like it's a core. Maokai is about to get reworked, so we don't have to talk about him.
Lux.
Yeah, Lux for sure.
I think
Pantheon,
Pantheon is very bad
Poppy.
support now.
Yeah, I don't think he's great, but he does show up, so it's at least worth leaving him in the pile. Like, he's not good, but people will
Yeah.
pick him. Real Renata. Missing anyone over here? I don't think so.
I mean, you're gonna have to remove a lot of these champs because I will never pick them.
Oh, it's
So I don't
just
play
stuff
them.
that you would
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a pile of all the stuff that I would be
Okay.
thinking about counterpicking and like playing against in solo queue.
Right.
So like,
So there's it's like if they pick this, what do I pick?
yeah. And of course, there can be general piles of like, engage tanks without a hook, engage tanks with a hook, poke supports, etc. Right? Like it's
Content.
relatively easy. Yeah, relatively easy to separate into piles. Let's see. I think I just missed someone in here, but I don't know who. Thresh, Taric. Talia. I mean, this is a pick that people pick a lot, but it's not worth talking about. I played enough that I would feel comfortable saying he's legally a support, but not like a great one. Zerath, Zyra. Did I grab Brand? I did not. And then Vigar, if I didn't get him, I got him. Zillion, and I think,
That's it.
yeah, I think that's everyone. At least that's a comprehensive enough list. So like, and of course the way that you lane against engage tanks with hook is different from engage tanks with no hook. Engage. I'm gonna take out the tank part, the tank qualifier, because we're talking about Pyke as well.
Mage.
That's poke is typically what I
Okay.
consider mage, but like I would put Ash here, for example, right? So it's not quite just mage, but yeah. So Ali is a melee peeler, Mumu's an engage, no hook. Anivia would be niche, Annie would be. Actually, we can go ahead and cut both of these out. I don't think either of these characters have been picked support enough recently. Bard is weird.
Melee payloads. Oh, and okay.
Greg is both. Like he's a counterpick support very specifically. Do you play Alistair?
No.
Do you play Rel?
No.
Okay.
So I'm guessing so you're saying it's the counter pick against those two?
Yeah, it beats melee engage champions that use their body as an engage. So like Galio and Amumu has a long range stun skill shot. Galio has his ultimate, right? In contrast, Alistair has his W, which is just his head goes forward, and like Rel has her W, which is actually interruptible. Pantheon, same thing. Pantheon loses to Gragas. Poppy can lose to Gragas. Yeah. Karma's both, but we'll put her in the Enchanter pile because it's more important to think of her in that way. Nami's obviously an Enchanter. Morg is weird. I would say Morg is a niche. You typically only see her as a counterpick, and I mean, if a Morg is being picked and it's not counterpicking you, then that's like pretty ass. Like typically Morg just loses to things that she doesn't counterpick. And she loses like very hard, so. And of course, a lot of champs are going to be in these two categories, because that's just kind of how it goes. Taric is both, but we'll put him in the Enchanter pile, because... No, he's melee, which makes his play patterns different from Enchanters. Vigar's obviously a poke champ, poke champ, poke champ, poke champ, poke champ. And Zillion's a poke champ, despite being an Enchanter. When he is played in lane, it's pretty much
Early game
exclusively...
he's
Yeah,
very potent,
yeah,
but late
so...
game changes.
Yep. This seems like a pretty reasonable separation, so we can start with this. I'm honestly almost saying Amumu goes here because his Q plays basically exactly the same as the hooks in lane. Where the fuck did I put Thresh? Did I not bring Thresh up?
There's Thresh in the second row. First.
Oh yeah, what? Oh, okay, I didn't drag him up far enough. There we go. I knew I was missing a hook champ. Okay, so This is probably the vast majority of what you're going to run into in
Or
solo queue.
Renata. It doesn't even have Renata. Wait, oh.
She's in the niche tab.
Alright.
Renata is like, actually, we can even call this the counter engage tab and put Senna in the poke tab. That is very specifically what these three champions do. Okay. So, what are your theoretical, I guess, like your baseline champions? Like if you're blinding, what do you pick?
I pick Bard, Thresh, or Renata.
Okay. When you're counterpicking, what does your champ pool look like? Is it like the support tab? Do you have like things that aren't here that you like for some specific reason? Like I mentioned, I like Twitch. Do you try to keep it to a specific list?
It's hard to say, because it could be any champ on the list.
Okay. So, let's, instead of having like the generic pool open, as much as it can feel like your like counterpicking is more valuable, there will absolutely come a point where your individual skill and ability with a champion will outpace your counterpicking in more than enough ways that it'll just be better for you to play a smaller pool with like maybe less dedicated counterpicks, right?
Yeah.
There are some.
I mean, there's a lot of champs on the list that I would never pick, no matter what, because I just don't play them.
Yeah, so I would say let's try to narrow this to 5 champions for solo queue. I think that's the like almost absolute max that I would ever ask someone to play in a role for solo queue if their goal was specifically to like to climb over to improve. Obviously, if you're trying to improve, you pick everything that's meta in the role, and you blind whenever you can to get matchup practice, right? But that's like a different mentality. So if you want to climb, if you want to hit D2, D1 Masters, narrow your champ pool as much as you feel comfortable.
Are you able to see my OP.gg and then sort it by support and ranked?
Yeah, I can. So here.
I think you're gonna have to go back to match history, ranked solo.
If I do that, does it bring up... Okay, well this will bring up the top 7, but
Go ranked solo.
you only have a couple games in ranked flex, so it's fine.
Not there on the actual match history.
Yeah. Oh, a match history.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Here? Won't this only show the last... yeah, this will show the last 20 games? Or oh, it'll show the individual games, I see.
Supports,
Yeah, yeah. So I see...
I was hoping it would tell me like what's my most picked in the last 20 or 40 on the top.
Yeah, it does. Renata, Bard, Senna, pretty much.
There's no way to sort it by support only, right?
I don't think so. Yeah, it won't separate out the junglers. But I mean, between like looking at the individual matches and like clicking this, and it's just like I know you're not playing Lee Sin support, right?
No,
So
never touching that champ again.
damn, I love Lee Sin, but he's really shit right now.
Maybe now the items are getting buffed. He's getting buffed, but
He's in a
it's literally troll to pick him.
He's in a really bad spot. Okay. So, like, Xerath, Lux, is Voli a jungler that you're picking?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go to jungle.
Sejuani, jungle top support.
If he had melees.
Support?
Jungle.
Okay. Okay, so we can ignore Voli Sejuani. So Xerath, Lux, Nami, Renata, Bard, Pyke, Senna, Zillion, Leona. Okay. So you tend to almost exclusively favor ranged champions. None of your most played supports are melee, right? Like, Xerath, Lux, Nami, Renata, Bard. Pyke is melee, but you definitely don't play him like you play every other melee support. Pyke is basically just an assassin. So, yeah, Leona is the first melee support that you have consistent games on, or any number of consistent games on, and she has a negative win rate. So, let's make the caveat that we're going to play ranged only. At least talking about the theoretical champ pool. Obviously, if you have something in particular you'd like to play that is melee, we can do that. Of course, pick whatever you want, but like in terms of optimizing your champ pool, I would say that you look better and more comfortable on ranged champs, and you should
I mean, I've
play
played many champs in the past, so
Mhm.
just really depends on current meta. I don't think Leona's a great pick right now.
No, I mean Leona and Nautilus are pretty bad right now, but Amumu,
Yeah.
Blitzcrank, and Sejuani are all pretty damn good. I think Shaco's a pretty good counter pick right now. I think Alistair's a pretty good counter pick right now. There are plenty of melees that are viable, right? Taric is like arguably the strongest support in the game right now before his nerf tomorrow. Um, okay, so if you're going to play ranged champions, typically the engage is both the most common matchup that you're going to see because people are going to see they'll see like for example a Xerath and they're like, oh, I can hook that, and then B, they just have high pick rates in general. And they're the thing you have to be the most scared of. So for all of those reasons, I'm most concerned about talking about matchups in the top row. From this, I mean, Pantheon's definitely less important to talk about than the others. I wanted to mention him up here, but we don't have to talk about him for matchup because like you said, he's not very good. He's not very picked in support. He's pretty much just a top laner now, and like a counter pick mid. These champions are all going to be picked though. Rel's actually getting buffed, so she's going to be relevant again. So of these characters, are there any in particular that you struggle against?
No, because the first row, my go-to would be Thresh if any of those get picked.
Yep, Thresh is a great counter pick to those. So we can just leave Thresh
Thresh or Morg.
or Morg.
Since those don't get picked, I'd never pick Thresh or Morg.
Yeah, that's fair. No, they're pretty uncommon right now, but and then as for the hook champions, what's your default into those? Basically, do you like counterpick Morg every time? Do you try to play poke into them?
I think I actually pick enchanters.
Enchanters.
So,
Okay.
yeah, something like Nami or Lulu.
So, yeah, this is like a pretty common misconception that hook champs just beat enchanters. They beat certain enchanters, like they'll beat Sona and
I
Seraphine really
think
hard,
with
but
if you're actually counter picking it with engage, it's literally a timer. If you don't kill them in lane or the game goes late, you just lose.
to a degree, yeah, I think like Blitz outscales like all four of these champions, right? In a very weird way. Nautilus arguably outscales everyone except Galio, depending on how the team comps uh, separate out. Obviously, Mumu outscales all these other supports because he actually has like crazy scalings and true damage and percent health and like all these mechanics that non-supports are typically given. Um, so I would to a degree agree with that for sure.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. I think I would actually pick Bard or Nada into those.
Yep, counter engage for a reason. You can just take Guardian and you never get one shot unless they're picking cheese, and then if they're picking cheese, the game's weird.
I played
Um,
against game against Gragas and I actually got shafted as fucking Bard.
yeah, Gragas shits on Bard. So Enchanters, Barbadonna, and Took. Into like these kinds of champions, my guess is that this is the
Ooh,
easiest pool for you to
yeah.
play against, but
Yes,
okay.
yes. I have a perfect pick.
Yeah, Senna destroys these
Yeah,
characters.
Senna. Senna.
Yeah.
If it's not bad, I'm going Senna.
Yep. No, I think Senna just farms every single character on that list with no exceptions. Like, maybe a really good Shaco could give you a little bit of trouble, but every single other character there is going to struggle against Senna pretty drastically.
You could probably see that on my match history every time Senna's picked. It's against one of those.
Yeah. I mean, you've
Yeah,
good,
and I play the lane like with zero fear. I just go, alright, what are you gonna do to me?
bro. You're playing Senna. They can't do anything to you. Your champ is insane. Conversely, my guess is that these two pools are the harder ones for you. Especially if you're not playing sustain, I could see poke being more of your struggle. Of course, like you have good win rates and good statistics, like in general, just in your last 20 games or something. So at least, and you have a almost 60% win rate. So I mean, when I say that, I say struggling compared to playing against like Alistair, right? But
Right.
so in these types of matchups, what do you prefer to play?
If they have Enchanter like Lulu, Yumi, if it's Yumi, I'm picking Senna.
Okay,
Otherwise, I'll pick one of the Lux or Zera.
okay. Do you have games on like Thresh into Yumi specifically?
Not this season, but previously I used to pick it all the time because every time she would get out, I just have to eat and she can't get that good.
Yeah.
But not this season. I think it's just much easier to play Zerath. I think the buffs he got were pretty good for him in support.
For sure. No, I think Xerath is really good. The only reason I specifically mentioned Thresh is A, for narrowing champ pool, because you mentioned you like him into the like no hook engage supports, and B, because with Yumi's recent nerfs to her passive range, right now Thresh's E range is the exact same as Yumi's auto range, or it's actually slightly larger, so Yumi literally cannot proc her passive against Thresh without dying. It's like, it went from being like a reasonable counter to one of the hardest counters in bot lane, because Yumi just can't use her passive. So I would recommend that specifically against Yumi if you feel comfortable trying it or playing it.
Yeah, I could try it, but I feel like then again it's literally like if I don't find a kill on her, then my pick kind of becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean that's the Thresh problem, and I do think that Thresh is a pretty weak champion right now. So,
I think it's yeah.
most of the
Might be good
champions that
against
rely
the
on
champs.
most of the champions that rely on snowballing and don't have insurance policies are weak. Like the strongest champions in support right now, like I think it's all of like the scalers, right? Like I think it's these champs, this champ, Amumu, Rel maybe once her buffs come. So like I think this is like most of the S tier. I didn't pull Tarek down because he's about to get nerfed. Like Braum and Poppy arguably, but like this is most of the stuff that I'm scared of in solo queue. The champions that are individual win conditions. Um, I put someone in the wrong tab, but it's fine. We already talked about whoever that was. There you go. Okay. So, like, obviously, like you said, you have stuff. So, what would be, if you had one preference to play into champions with sustain, like enchanters with sustain, what would that be?
Lux.
Lux. Yep, I think Lux is pretty good into them. She pressures the mana pool really heavily of enchanters, and then she has the caveat that if the enchanter does not dodge a skill shot,
I
they
have tried
die.
Renata before, multiple games, but
No.
they, they just out heal her folk.
There's a reason I have her here. Renata's poke, like, she has pretty consistent damage in all-ins when your AD can proc your passive pretty consistently, but her solo damage is very weak, and her poke range is too small to contest enchanters properly. Renata's typically countered really, really hard by, like, Lulu, Soraka, Nami, Karma type champs especially, champs with, like, a single powerful trade skill. Renata pretty much struggles into anyone in these bottom two rows. And I can say personally from the stuff I've seen you play, into enchanters, I'm a Lux enjoyer. I like Thresh in metas where he feels better into enchanters, but yeah. Into the scaling enchanters, I love Blitzcrank. But I don't think I saw you playing any Blitz, so we don't have to talk about that.
I have not played that in seasons.
Yeah. And I like Zyra a lot because you can do the Leandry's Morello thing and just, or Leandry's Chemtech, whichever one you prefer, and just like completely nullify any of like the late game heal stacking that like these three champs do, for example. But again, I think that's, you know, if you play Zyra, and I want to say you don't, not actively, right? Yeah, I don't see Zyra on this list, so.
It's a champ I've never picked up.
Okay, cool. Do you play Seraphine or Sona at all?
No,
Okay.
neither of those.
That's fine. I'm
It's
a
usually
little
my ADC picking that.
I'm a little surprised because both of these champs are like within the wheelhouse of characters you play, like champions with like a safe trade pattern, reasonable scaling, and like range as their main weapon, right? Excuse me, but yeah, I mean, if there was a champ that I could recommend, it would be Seraphine, especially since she alone tends to beat almost every other character in these two tabs. Whereas I think most of your other characters have like some more trouble with them. Lux is really good into most of these characters, but like, and of course, if you don't enjoy her, don't play her. And then Poke, Xerath beats every Poke champ, and you've already mentioned you like him. So,
Yeah.
like, Xerath just fucking shits on this whole list. Even harder than Lux does, I think.
Right. Agreed.
Zillion is the one exception to that. He can consistently play at a high enough move speed to make Xerath struggle. And then, like, Ashe kind of, because her poke is a little shorter range, but it's more consistent, and she can catch Xerath out when he starts to push for poke post 6. The rest of the champs have no answer to Xerath at all. And then counter engage, because you're not playing any of these champs in the top two rows, I'm not really worried about even talking about them because your pool just beats them naturally. So I would probably say, I mean, this is like a good narrowing down of the champ pool, right? I would lean towards not playing Thresh in current meta. I would, because of a couple reasons, but the big one is that I think Thresh struggles into almost everything that's meta, because if you ever hit a hook, go in, and your team doesn't instantly win the fight, you're going to die to whatever Sunfire or Bork user is there. And you're pretty aware of that, I'm sure, if you've played Thresh. I like Bard, and I like Enchanters, but Renata is easier and does all of those champions' job in this matchup. Heavily prioritize Renata, I think. Just in general, and also against these characters. Renata's very good in all these champs. She typically can't die to them outside of special circumstances, or obviously when you're behind, hook champs are going to kill you. She's really, really strong against all these champs that basically just can never pressure her. And probably the biggest thing, Renata's not going to get nerfed. Riot has already basically just said aloud that they are completely fine with her state for like the next half a year, and she's not relying on any items in the meta beyond just like liking the generic support items every fucking champion likes. So unless they do another meta shift like the durability update, Renata will be A to S tier in solo queue for a very long time. Yeah. Really like Renata. I personally don't like Morgana at all, but I think she's a really good option into this stuff, and she works with the way you want to play.
Yeah, I rarely pick her, and it's usually to like hard counter something like Braum or Rel or whatever they pick.
So I would definitely say play Renata over Morg for those picks. If you want to pick Morg into exactly Nautilus, you can probably do that, but otherwise I would say like pull away from the Morgana. She has a similar problem to... Or she's basically the reverse of Renata, actually, where right now she is struggling a lot in the meta, and she doesn't look like she's going to get active buffs. She just happens to shit on hook champs.
It's like, against Braum, Renata can't ult, right? His shield breaks it?
Yeah, the shield just eats the ulti completely.
I just always pick more against him.
That's fair.
Just for that reason.
I could see that into Braum, but I would say that it's pretty likely that your poke champs will pressure Braum just as hard.
The other times I picked is when I have like a mage ADC, like something like, I think she paired really well with Swain.
Yes, yeah. She does pretty much instantly guarantee kills if you have like a non-standard AD bot lane. I'm inclined to say that Lux and Senna do the same thing, but that's not quite true. And the Black Shield is more useful on those non-AD characters because they tend to get into closer range. So, yeah, I could see Morg. Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously your Senna, Lux, and Xerath are all up to snuff. They're all good. They all fit your playstyle, and there's reasons for you to pick all of them. Most of this makes sense. I guess the one thing that I'm worried about in your champ pool is Ashe. If this was your champ pool, right? Obviously this isn't. You can play more champions than this, but I'm thinking in a theoretical world where you play 5 champions and these are the ones that you picked, which isn't true. But do you have an answer to Ashe that you like?
Xerath.
Xerath? Okay. So you do like the Xerath into Ashe? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that it's probably
and I'd
like
my ADC to take blends.
True, yeah. I would personally, I feel like it's a skill matchup or slightly Ashe favored, but if you like the matchup, that matters a lot more than like the matchup being very slightly favored in one direction.
Ashe is like that broken as people make it seem like, because it's very easy to play lane if you use the minions correctly.
No, absolutely. I think that she's like
extremely easy. It's like
yeah.
Every time I play against Ashe, it's free win.
Ashe is
when one CC on her, she's dead.
Yeah, she's got the Brand Zyra issue where like if you play around her kit correctly, she struggles really, really heavily. She only has 2 things over Brand Zyra, and like Brand Zyra have Health Shred, Ashe has Vision Control and mid-late game engage. Yeah. Ashe definitely scales harder than the other poke champs especially without gold. Like, just as you get to late game, Ash's kit becomes better. Xerath snowballs really hard in Ash, though, right? So, I definitely, I understand why you like it, and I think it's a good pick. I just wanted to mention it and ask if you had an issue with it at all. But yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense. I would say that it's reasonable to stick with 5 characters. It doesn't have to be these 5, but I think at least there's reason for these 5 to be champions that you play. Is there anyone that you would like to play that I didn't mention or talk about?
Lulu Nami.
Lulu Nami? Okay, yeah, you can just pick them into like.
If they have like some kind of enchanter like Sona or like Seraphine,
Mhm.
I just go with Lulu Nami.
Okay,
I know that I think those 2 are pretty safe. It's very hard to punish. I can't outpoke them. It's pretty hard unless I fucking land every ability. It's very hard to engage on them too. They just heal it all back. Because right now you can't really just engage on someone and kill them from full HP. You have
Yeah.
to do 2 engages, and they'll just heal it all back.
I would definitely say stick to Lulu, unless you have exactly illusion.
I think Nami works very great with Zeri too.
Zeri? I could
Yeah.
see that. I don't know. I am not a believer in Nami's power right now. I think she's like a B tier champion with an S tier interaction that's getting removed tomorrow. So, but
Yeah, she's getting nerfed, but
yeah.
I think Ares still underrated.
Yeah, no, I have a friend who's
If
like
you
a
look at how much damage Electrocute does, it's pretty irrelevant.
Electrocute is not a huge part of her damage. It's just about the trade pattern being powerful for the first 5 minutes of the game.
Right.
But same reason as people taking Scorch in mid, right? Like that one trade pattern is enough to snowball an advantage. At least in some scenarios. There's definitely an argument for taking Aerie. There's an argument for taking Guardian as well. But I would and this is my personal opinion, Lulu is better, she's easier, and she synergizes with more characters. I think the only champ that uses Nami better than Lulu is Lucian. And that's my opinion, but that's where I feel.
I agree.
So yeah, that's what I'd sit on with the champ pool. Also, every single Twitch that's asked you to pick Lulu has a reason. I don't know if you've played this combo from the Twitch side, but it feels like you're cheating.
Same with Yumi.
Yeah, Yumi only feels like you're cheating if you're playing AP Twitch. Lulu is like the cheat code that unlocks Twitch's ability to play the game. Not that Twitch is bad. Twitch is very good, even without Lulu, right? Like, he holds a positive win rate. He's got multiple builds, right? But with Lulu, you are not playing the same game. So I would personal recommendation is to play this every time you have a Twitch and you feel like it's pickable. But that is up to you as well. I'm going to stop saying this, but all of these are it's just recommendations, right? Like, I would do whatever you feel comfortable doing. Also, what do you ban, by the way?
I used to ban Renata every game, but now I just pick it.
Okay.
I actually ban junglers, like Udyr every game now.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck he does.
Were you banning Bel'Veth or Diana before that?
Yeah, not Diana, but I usually ban champs that I don't know what to do. So when Nyla came out and everybody was picking her, I don't know what to do against her, so I just ban her.
Yeah.
But now nobody plays her, so I just ban Udyr.
So I don't know if you saw the Hecarim buffs, but he is going to be much stronger and much better with extended trades.
I ban champs that I don't know what to do, so I think
yeah.
Most champs in the game, I understand how their kit works, how can I play around it, and how can I counter it, but I still don't understand Nyla or Udyr's kit, because it's very new.
Yep. He's very similar to old Udyr, but he has an Ornn W once every 40 seconds, basically. But yeah. Cool. I think that's a pretty good primer for talking about draft. Obviously, solo queue draft is a lot less deep and a lot less interesting than Fives draft,
There's a lot of scenarios with ADC2 where even if I'm counter picking myself, it just works because the duo is just too good.
Yep.
Stuff like Sivir Yumi is literally unbeatable. There's nothing you can do to beat it.
Yeah. I will add,
Stuff
if you're
like
willing to play her, Yumi with...
the what else? Like Draven Pike is actually fucking broken.
Is it?
Yeah, the his their ult interactions, or when Pike ults and kills someone, it cashes in for Draven.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's definitely pretty strong. No, I can see that. I mean, obviously, like, you've been climbing with the multiple champions, so you have the ability to, like...
Yeah, I can pick. I usually like to pick high skill chips than
Yeah.
sitting back and enjoying the game.
Yep. Cool. Well, we can start talking about the games now, if you're feeling comfortable with the draft discussion.
Yeah,
All right,
we're
cool.
good.
So,
Oh, I had a question. I'm
oh
trying
yeah,
to remember. So if my ADC picks Ziggs or Karthus, what the fuck do I do? Because I feel like I don't know what to pick. Engage doesn't work. Poke doesn't work. Like nothing just works.
so if you feel like nothing works, that's because the people playing those picks are shitty bandwagoners who don't know how to play the characters. Both those characters are pretty strong with a variety of stuff. I would think of Ziggs a lot like Sivir that can't use enchanters as well. His job is basically to just evaporate the wave once every 30 seconds and then scale and shove waves.
Like should I just pick a roam champ like Bard or something?
Yeah, roam champs are really good with Ziggs. Very often you can just tell your Ziggs, like, as he backs, you just fucking walk top and you just say, like, clear the wave. He'll let the first wave crash, EQ it, and then second wave he'll just ult and you have a minute and a half to do whatever the fuck you want on the map.
Oh, the Karthus.
Karthus is actually really good with engage, assuming that your Karthus is good. He doesn't love, but he likes Morgana in games where Morgana's good anyway, because he really likes being able to consistently cast his Q. He gets arguably more out of not being, like, stunned or silenced than, like, any other character in bot lane for the first, like, 5 minutes. Because his damage ceiling is incredibly high. I would never pick, like, a true enchanter with him, but you could play one if you wanted to. I would say that Poke is good with him, Hook champs are really good with him, and then, like, the only thing I wouldn't do is I actually would not roam with Karthus, because you want to funnel him. He does actually hyperscale. So yeah, I would go for, like, from your champ pool, I would say the best stuff is probably Senna and Lux. Champions with, like, setup abilities and just enough utility to make sure that he can get into the place he needs to be in an early game fight and just mash Q. And champions that provide their own damage instead of giving damage to another champion. Like, I would not pick Lulu, Nami, Yumi. I wouldn't want to pick Sona with Karthus, and then I probably wouldn't want to play, like, a Blitz or something with Karthus. Blitz, Alistair, Braum, that type of stuff. Of course, that's out of your wheelhouse, but just thinking out loud. Okay. I saw this earlier, but interesting start to the game. So you have talking about draft, you have a Senna, Ezreal into Jinx, Yumi, and then you have, like, this team into this team. Was the Senna pick, like, early, late, just a comfort pick here because you were, like, we're playing comfort?
I just heard Yumi and I had an Ezreal, and I was like, I don't know how this Ezreal was gonna play because a lot of them just like to farm and do nothing. So I just pick something easy.
One of the highest damage potential, highest skill ceiling, highest carry champs in the entire game, and every fucking Ezreal sits a turret like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Senna makes sense here. I was just curious.
It would do good against, like, right now. I know the lane's over.
Yep. Yeah, they just lost flash on fucking. They have no flash against Senna. Every W they get hit with is 3/4 of their health or dead. And basically Jinx has to play the lane almost perfectly to not lose the game. And I didn't see this, but let's take a look real quick. Yeah, Yumi started Q. Lane's over. That's fucking, yeah, it's trolling. You know, Deep Vision on Warwick, is this your ward or is this... This is Mordekaiser's.
You could tab, click on me.
Let's see, I can hit...
I don't remember who worded it.
It's Mord's.
Okay.
Yeah, so you... Okay.
I think I was debating, but I kept it just in case I need the lane. I think the correct move here should have been to go sweeper, because I don't need my ward. I think I need to make sure that I have bush control.
I would almost never go sweeper at the very start of the game against a champ that can punish for ganks pre-6. Warwick, like, obviously they're missing some damage in their gank, right? Like, Jinx doesn't have great damage potential, Yuumi doesn't do much, and, like, Warwick is fine but not super strong. Especially, why are people going tempo, man? But, I would still say, I would just almost never switch sweeper before, like, 6 minutes, because I think, like, preventative vision is much stronger than removing vision until the first dragon's gone.
But like I've gone it on stuff like Pike sometimes, especially when we're invading.
Oh yeah, no, it's
It actually helps a lot in lane. Like you go in the bush, they ward it, you instantly kill the bush, and now they have to play super scared.
Yep. On Pike that matters a lot. On Thresh that matters a lot. Like on champs where they can see you charging the hook, but like on Senna.
Wouldn't really matter. Okay.
Yeah, on Senna it doesn't matter nearly as much because your poke is instant. Like you can just stand like right here,
Yeah.
and even if it's warded, like what do? Right? They can't actually walk up. Because the moment they walk up, Israel's gonna walk right here, throw a Q, you're gonna throw a Q, and then you just run away and de-aggro the minions.
I actually don't remember how I played early game in this game.
That's fine.
So let's see.
The only other thing I would say is since you have your ward here and you know that Jinx Yuumi lost, an option that you have is to like ping here when you're about to walk away from blue.
Yeah.
Ward this when you're walking out of red, and then look for additional pressure poke here. Because if Jinx Yuumi like happen to walk into your poke again, they might not even be able to get these first 3 minions, right? People tend to overleash.
Yeah. I've done that a lot with Lux where I just
Yeah.
do the tri-bush and then they just sit there and I'm like, they're actually retarded. They're about to miss the whole wave.
Yep. Yeah, so it's a good option. Yeah, Yuumi has Q, so the lane's over. Just let you walk up. You win the trade 1v2 because, oh my god, Yuumi players, bro. Holy shit. Yeah. So I will say, I'm not a huge fan of overextending this trade. I know you have sustain, and you have more sustain than Yuumi because you're not Yuumi, so you're not mana gated the same way. B, you have fleet footwork, and C, she started Q. But even then, I think that I think this is like a solo queue play that I see a lot of people make, where it's like you have a minor upside of like having a trade that is good for you, but you have the small possibility of a major downside of Warwick doing like fake leash, 4 camp top to bot, you're on blood scent range and he kills you, right? It's a rare occurrence, but hedging against those like roam ganks and those jungle ganks is really important for bot lane specifically because you'll always be the first thing people are looking at.
Oh, this is how I got punished in every competitive match.
Yep. These cuz like in a vacuum where these are the only 4 champs on the map, this trade is absolutely fine. It's like almost even just really good. The only reason I would say maybe it's not as good is because you did lose 1 soul, but like that's not a huge deal. But it was a good trade to go for. It's really worth hedging for jungle, hedging for mid, because
Did I lose it though? I got the soul.
you missed this one.
There's another.
Yeah.
I mean, I get souls off of them too.
Yeah, it's not exactly like you're losing scaling. I think the big thing to keep in mind is that in solo queue, especially if you're playing a scaling champion, assume that your opponents are going to make mistakes, and if you play solidly, eventually your opponents will make more mistakes than you, and you will beat them. Maybe you'll kill them. Here, we can talk about this in a sec. Maybe you'll kill them. Maybe you'll just out-trade them and get vision control, and that'll get you an objective later. It doesn't really matter how their mistakes manifest, because in Diamond, you could see people make very small mistakes instead of very big mistakes. But you're not at a high enough elo where you have to try to force your opponent to make a mistake. That's like, maybe that starts somewhere in like Masters Plus, right? Like most players will never reach that point. So I definitely prefer playing as close to your fundamentals as possible. Not because I want everyone to play safe or play like a bitch or not try to do aggressive stuff like this. Just because I know that it will help you win more games on average. Because it did me when I actually climbed. That was the mindset switch that I made, and then I switched right back, and I went back to fucking 60% win rating.
I think like my first two levels, I'm just like testing the waters to see if they let me get away with a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
That's how I'm like, okay, these guys are not gonna punish anything I do.
Okay, so this is
Sometimes I
one.
get punished level 1, and then I know, okay, this guy actually knows what the fuck he's doing, so I need to play a little more safer.
Yeah. So I will say this is one other thing that I don't know if you noticed. Let's take a look. Yeah. So
This next fee here, I think too.
your aggressive trade here does have like a very negative consequence. Which is that you're forced to continue walking back here, and Jinx has AoE whereas Ezreal doesn't, right? So they can take minion priority if they're not zoned off. And even though this trade is good in about 30 seconds from health, Jinx isn't zoned off the minions right here. So what's going to happen is she's going to walk up, rocket these minions, rocket the melees, and you're going to lose level 2, right? And this is just a matchup thing. Jinx can push faster than Ezreal because she gets 3 autos on minions per Ezreal's 1 and like a third, 1.5. So in this kind of matchup, unless you know that you can win the lane off a level 1 trade, right? This is a good trade, but it's not a lane winning trade at all because you are also low. And they also have sustain, and like your Ezreal wasn't able to push damage because he sucked and missed a Q, right? Like a lot of stuff, a lot of little stuff, but it all adds up to the fact that you have a losing lane state right now. So what has to happen here is you have to walk up and start hitting the minions constantly. And it sucks to miss this soul, but there's an argument for you having to do it, or at least kiting up this way to Q
Like, I think
across
I
the
already
soul.
noticed that the wave's in a bad state. So.
Yeah, cause that's why you Q the wave here. You're looking for poke, but you're also like very clearly hitting as many minions as you can.
Yeah.
So we missed 1 auto, we missed 2 autos, we missed 3 autos on the wave, and then autoing here, when you auto someone, their minions start chasing you, and your minions continue hitting the wave, so that can be helpful for pushing. Yeah, it's like a thing that you can always keep in mind is that if you auto attack your opponent, your wave is going to shove.
Yeah.
Okay. Or if you take minion aggro, your wave is going to shove because your wave will keep hitting and your opponent's wave will chase you. But yeah, they're going to get level 2 spike here. You guys are still level 1. You get 2, but it's a little bit late, so let's see what happens here. Obviously, they're down some sums, and Ezreal's up on HP on Jinx, so like this happens anyway. But this happens because A, Jinx is a fucking idiot and has Ghost for no reason, and B, because they were late and died. So it ends up being a good trade, but it comes from a couple places that I think can lose you games in higher elo, right?
Yeah.
Because like this does happen because you missed 2 autos on the wave, right? Look at how close this is, right?
Yeah.
If you're
one range minion instead of melee, that's so weird.
Yeah, if you are auto, let's see. Those weird wave states, by the way, happen when you auto opponents, because it drags minions out of their normal like formation. Like look here.
I think Ez is focusing wrong minions here, anyways.
So he's trying to. So he is hitting the range creep. I think this was a missed auto on Yuumi. I'm not 100% here. I'm curious, so I can watch back and see it. But, so these are getting hit. 2 minions alive tier 3. He's pushing these because they're low, right? He should probably be hitting the melees,
even
but
if you kill the 3 range, you don't get level 2.
Yeah, so he shouldn't have gone for
the range, yeah.
that Q. Once that Q missed these minions, like he shouldn't Q these minions for the next one. So like that auto is a wasted auto. Next auto is a wasted auto, right? But you do also miss 2 autos, so it's like it's more your AD's fault, but it's also worth noting the mistake that you make. Because like 1, 2, 3, kind of you auto here, so that pushes, and then you start autoing the wave. So like if you throw your 2 more autos, then right here, this minion's dead, this minion's on 50 health. So when they walk up right here,
so
that auto...
They got baited by...
Yeah, oh no, they did for sure. Like, again, this turns out well because they're greedy, but that auto kills that minion and you guys hit level 2 here. And in a vacuum, this trade is good, but you don't have to die, right?
Yeah.
Now, allegedly, they back off and nothing happens and it's like a worse trade, but the core of it is that you die when you didn't need to, right? And as much as like worth trades can be worth, it is almost always important to call every death mistake in solo queue. Damn, Yuumi is really
I
fucking
agree. In this
useless.
game, I shouldn't have died at all, or this early. Because I'm the one who counterpicked.
So like this is oh what the fuck? Okay, okay. I think I know what he's doing here.
No, he's typing.
Oh, he's typing. Oh my god, he's doing a bad thing here. Okay, cool. So what I was hoping he was doing was he was going to slow last hit these minions.
He ended up recalling here. I think he waited a long time. I come back and then he recalls.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
you're
pretty awkward.
desynced here, which is bad. He's missing autos. Yeah, okay, so he's already down like 6 seconds on this recall. He shouldn't have slow pushed that wave. Doesn't like it. This probably doesn't punish him, but see, is Warwick on vision? Has Warwick showed? No, Warwick hasn't showed, bro. If Warwick does 1, 2, 3, 4, and then runs down to contest bot scuttle, which is a path that a lot of junglers do when they don't think they can fight, and like fucking Mordekaiser.
Yeah.
Mordekaiser's pretty scary.
Beats
Yasuo
Zed.
beats Zed early. Well, okay, Yasuo died, so it's a pretty unlikely path, but again, it's that hedging thing.
It looks like Warwick has the kill.
Yeah. Okay, so we did see him. Never mind, my bad. Yeah, he's missing a smite charge. Where did here? Curious to see when we. Okay, so we saw him at. Let's see. This is right here, I assume. He's just gonna come out the cuts. He's right about when you guys are bot lane.
He went under tower.
Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, this is pretty much the exact pathing I was talking about.
He
He does
almost outplayed him.
3 camps, red blue gromp, and then he walks topside. Okay, so I don't hate him staying here then, but like he definitely could have shoved. The only reason I'm going over this is because if you're in the scenario as the support, I would say shove. Like this, a very similar wave state to this one, right? You've got a slight but guaranteed shove.
You can use the plus or minus on your keyboard instead of clicking on this.
Yeah, but my other hand is currently eating food.
Other hand on what?
Eating food. It's consuming delicacies. And by delicacies, I mean chips ahoy. Yeah, so we can skip through this. Yeah. No, we don't have to go over all the small stuff, especially not the small stuff that your dogshit teammates do. So you just cover the scuttle. That's fine. I would.
Because I got nothing better to do.
Almost for sure, instead of covering the scuttle, I would hover this bush between scuttle and mid here. You as a support with a lot of priority, this will piss off your mid laner, but like you really want to leech EXP while you're unable to step bot, right? And then you can still get this soul after just sitting here. You can sit here for like 5 seconds, walk out, get a soul. It's a minor thing, but again, like, unless your mid is a psychopath who's going to tilt at the first thing that goes wrong anyway, it's not going to piss him off. What?
That's happened before.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a Yasuo player.
Oh, dude, absolutely. But I've also had games lost to, like, mental things that weren't even, like, an issue. I've had someone actually tilt because they killed their opponent, and they were like, this guy's so fucking bad, how are we losing? And they just fucking ran it down 5 deaths. So, like, he bought Mobies and ran it down 5 deaths. People mental boom at the weirdest shit, so all you can do is just hedge your play as best as possible. You walk down with Mordekaiser. Is there a reason we're choosing this bush instead of the other one? Because, so, you know they don't have sums, right? All their sums have been timed.
Oh, yeah, there was reason. I told them Yumi's 100% gonna walk up to ward it.
Oh, okay. Calling to catch when she wards here. Okay.
Yeah,
And she very well could. I
might have pinged it too, and I typed in chat that dude, Yumi's coming to ward it 100%.
Gotcha.
So we're waiting for Yumi to walk.
By the way, I want to mention this. I've played with this player. They suck. So, I played with Special the Yuumi player, and they griefed my game. So yeah, and that is a good call. It's good awareness. And out of curiosity. Okay, so they didn't have this warded because the Yuumi really is dog shit, but they definitely could have had that warded. I think this is like a play that almost always works in like this almost always works in like D4 to D2. And then like very rarely works past that. Because the Yuumi just like cues the bush from max range while watched. I don't know, people get lazy and fuck shit up. This wave state is really good for AD. You can fast forward because I assume nothing's going to happen here. This is definitely a place where, on like a Bard or something, I would say like you could roam, but you know, you're just fucking scaling. You're Senna. You don't care. You don't want to leave. Okay. We can't actually talk about this. Never mind. So, do you know at what point you notice something happening in the jungle here?
Out here.
Probably about here?
No.
Yeah. Something I would keep in mind as support is that if your jungler is ever walking to take a camp that isn't explicitly raptors, you can look to just like move with them because fuck it, right? This is time where you're scaling and you are level 2, but this is also time where your jungler is being forcing themselves to make a risky play. I don't know if you considered...
To leave lane here.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you for that, but you're aware that this isn't warded. You're aware that this isn't warded. You're not aware that this isn't warded, sorry, but you're aware there isn't probably vision. And when you don't see Warwick walk here to contest, you know there isn't vision here. So walking here to here is safe, and then you're with a big-ass Mordekaiser, and the only person that can threaten you doesn't have flash. Like, so I would be actively watching the Mord's movement the entire time here.
Okay.
And the moment that he doesn't leave the jungle, I would be like, okay, I gotta go help. I'm the support. I gotta go be a bitch for like 2 minutes, right? This is bad, by the way. Like this is shit. If I was viewing the Mord, I would tell him like never do this invade. This is really bad. But you do have the what?
I said I personally would never do what he just did.
Yeah, no, it's super greedy. Like their bot is obviously coming back, right? We know their bot's somewhere over here, not committed to a wave because Ezreal's slow pushing.
Yeah.
So this is a 4v2 so easily if their bot just moves. Maybe their bot doesn't move and then they win the 2v2. Maybe their bot moves and the game's over because Warwick has 3 kills, a CS, like even CS, even EXP, and a red buff that he shouldn't have, right? Like, oh look, surprise! And now the Jinx is back in the game. I frankly am shocked. Oh look, Yasuo just lost mid. Oh look, Yasuo, yeah. Oh, well, nice, great, awesome. Okay. So this all happens. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I was actually killable here.
No, so at no point are you, like, individually killable unless they've put wards that you can't expect.
No, like, what's about to happen? Speed it up.
Oh, okay. I was going to, okay, that's fine. But yeah, we can watch this. We can watch this first.
The whole point of that was just waste their time.
Yeah. Getting your soul, wasting their time, because you don't feel killable here. Let's see, what do we see Zed do? Yeah, so he didn't use his shadow there, so we know it's up like within the next like 10 seconds. So he's hitting the wave here. So if Zed comes right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'd have vision and you'd run faster. Probably, an almost 0 chance that this negatively affects your game. So yeah, this is fine. Because I think, do we know where the Warwick is as well? Let me watch this back.
But I just assumed he went somewhere topside.
Okay, so what? Yeah, so we do see him walk. We see him walk at least up this way. Maybe if he, yeah. So he can't walk without you seeing him. So I think this is fine. Yeah, that poke trade is fine. I think it's probably not worth though. I think you getting your 2 or so souls from this wave and getting your support procs on the tower is worth more than you stalling here for a couple seconds so Ezreal can be safer. That's my personal like priority would be to like keep yourself scaling, right? You get about another quarter of your XP bar, get 2 souls, get 60 gold. That's probably worth trading a little bit of time pressure. Even though this play is safe, I think it's pretty inefficient. This is probably a fine play if you're playing a poke mage, or if you're playing Lulu. I don't like the play as a scaling support. Though I do definitely like both this pink ward, or this green ward here, and backing off. I think this is, you just put this down, right? Yeah. This is good. Going for wards outside of your like immediate circle the moment that you get priority is really good. Definitely something you should look to do. helping your AD hit the wave here in the hopes that he will reset, praying to God, because we know Warwick's going to be bot side in the next 30 seconds. We know Zed's missing. We're like, please God, please God. This is scary. Shove the wave, Ezreal. Stop last hitting. This definitely feels like overstaying for these. So we have no vision along the mid roam line, which is right here. We see Warwick top now, but let's see. You are most vulnerable, like right here, right now, before Warwick shoves in, right? So again, I think this is like the ways that you can lose your rank games, because obviously you're playing better than these guys, and these are like D4 average. I think D4 or D3, like they play like D4s, and you play better than them. But a lot of the movement here could result in a death if your opponent's jungler was better, looking more at bot and less at top, or just luckier. Like, fuck it. Sometimes jungle players just get lucky, and they're bad, but they happen to be looking at you, right? Yeah. If after shoving this wave, because Zed had about half his HP, it's unlikely that he stays, but he could have walked bot after shoving this wave. And if he walks bot here, instead of walking back to mid, so like he backed, so he moved this much distance. That's about the same amount of distance moving bot. They have a pink in this bush. You have no vision. He's here about right now. Y'all are very dead to Zed here. He still has Ignite. Jinx has red buff. And I think you have no flash, right? Yeah, you have no flash. So like Ezreal will make it out, but you are for sure dead for basically like minor bits, right? This feels like overstaying. And part of the reason it feels like overstaying is because you're level 3, and part of the reason you're level 3 is because you haven't been hedging for your own experience, right? So this is like a snowball of minor downsides to macro play that end up scaling into the point where you could very easily die for any time in the next like minute. And if you die anytime on this wave or the next wave, it's like very disastrous because you're already behind in EXP, and Jinx has a red buff here. So like if Jinx picks up one more kill, then this game is suddenly way less exciting, right? Ezreal gives his 450 to Jinx. Jinx has, 1,005 gold. Suddenly she has 1,450. She gets these minions. And like Ezreal dies, she gets an assist. She gets these minions, she backs. Instead of getting Zerks, she gets new Quiver Boots, right? Like, that's a way scarier recall, so. Possible snowballing of stuff. Again, not because I think you're playing poorly, or I think that, like...
Wait, did Zed get spotted by my word from earlier?
Let's see. I think that's why... Yeah, sorry, you can change this back to red.
Pinged him out.
Yeah, so we did... On this roam, we do see him. But that's because he takes a greedy pathing. They have a pink ward in this bush. There is no reason for him to walk river. Like, this is D4 pathing. D4 roam pathing. He'll get spotted here, but he'll get spotted there not on this ping, right? When you guys are like, okay, we need to back right now.
Yeah.
But he'll get spotted right now, and he'll get spotted right here instead of right here, right? Like, that could be death.
I also pinged them out instantly as soon as he left lane. So.
Yeah.
And I wanted to back because I want to get serrated dirt. So
yeah.
I was already pinging it back ASAP.
I saw your pings.
It just happened to be perfect timing with your Zed room.
Yep. Again, it is a series of positive coincidences, right?
Yeah.
The invade ending up in making that first trade very good, despite like minor mistakes and misplays. Obviously, they're also making minor mistakes and misplays. If it sounds like I'm being nitpicky, it's because I am intentionally, because you're past the point where you need, like, general advice on all this stuff, right? Like, you make fine decisions. You move well, you build good items on good characters, you have matchup knowledge, right? Yeah. You're past the point of the basics. You'll make far more use of nitpicking. We're going to buy a Dirk and a tier. And this is genuine question. Do you always buy tier on Senna? Like, is that what you're supposed to do, or?
I just sometimes try to get it early, depending on how much gold I have.
Cool.
I do get it early a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know whether it was a luxury purchase or not on Senna, because I haven't followed her build paths recently.
Like, once you buy that, you never have a mana issue, so if you're losing lane, it's very good, because you can use Q more often to heal your teammates.
Right. So I guess if you're losing, it helps you heal. If you're winning, it helps you Like it's an
Jump
insurance
right where you take damage.
yeah, it's an insurance policy to help you snowball. So it's only really bad if you're even and need to break the stalemate, which makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah, if you need to somehow win the lane, then you need more damage.
Yeah. So definitely two things to talk about here at least. First, why are we moving mid instead of bot?
I have no fucking idea.
All right. So this is probably an autopilot. Like it feels like my AD's
I think
safe
I saw
under.
him, like fight, and I was like,
Okay.
fuck this guy.
We
He's
saw
really
this. Saw Ezreal sitting in a turret. It's like, all right, let's go
Yeah.
play League. That makes
And I was like, let's just help this guy recall right here.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a jungler mentality. Like if I were jungler,
No, yeah.
I would move here.
No, I agree. I mean, I think in a vacuum it's a good move. I just wanted to make sure you had the right reasoning for it. Because moving here because you saw the fight is not good, but moving here because you saw Yasuo low and you want to help him reset is
It
good,
was
right?
slow, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But this, it would, I don't know. It's like a lose-lose situation because this also allows fucking Jinx to do free shit. But I guess they left lane, so that's bad for them too.
Yeah.
'Cause they get to free farm in bot lane. I don't know why they left.
Yeah, because you have advantage, it's very rare for your opponents to be able to, like, you have pretty significant advantage, right? You're up CS, you're up matchup, you're up recalls, and you're up wave position, right? So it's pretty hard for your opponents to do something without losing resources. So we see this. This is reasonable to assume that this is Jinx Yuumi hitting this. Which should be followed by them walking back bot, but no, they're gonna walk over here.
Like this game, I also think Yasuo is the win con.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that Ezreal can carry against Zed. Yasuo has to knock out, you know.
I would call that a misconception. I think that Ezreal is very, very good against AD dive assassins. He can land damage more consistently on them than most champions because, assuming the Ezreal's good, he can land damage more consistently on them than most champions because his damage is in like a mixture of DPS and burst, right? Whereas most ADs are DPS only. So they fall to those like long range blinks and target abilities that champs like Zed have. And then Ezreal can and often does buy either Frozen Heart, Death's Dance, Zhonya's, or a mixture, which makes it almost impossible for Zed to kill him. So unless Zed is exceptionally fed, it's really hard for him to threaten Ezreal.
Zed is always exceptionally fed.
Zed is... Do I just play in games with different Zeds from other players? I swear every Zed I play with is just like...
I've never seen a Zed not be fed in my games.
Dude, I swear Zed is the most mediocre fucking champion, like, to pick. Like, I think Zed players are just, like, there's so many of them and they're so average that it's a true... I don't even want to call it a coin flip. There's, like, 30 different ways a Zed can play. And, because there's so much to the champion, and he's so hard. Like, good Zed players, terrifying. And they can kill anyone. But bad Zed players fucking do nothing. And I feel like I see them in about equal measure. I also have a biased perspective as someone who's typically playing either mid or jungle, right? So I'm watching the Zed very consistently, as opposed to like bot lane where all you see is, oh look, the 5-0 Zed just walked bot and now he's 6-0, smile. That being said, that's, you know, unrelated debate. So like this is definitely an unnecessary death. We don't really need to talk about this. You saw him on a ward right here. Didn't need to be stepping up. Or not a death, sorry. Oh yeah, Yasuo dies.
Because Warwick ulted from the side we weren't watching. We were watching bot side.
Yeah. So we see Jinx Yuumi here, and then Warwick sneaks up around Vision. This is a mid thing. This ward is griefing, and I will flame anyone that places it down. Ward right here, ward here, ward here, ward here, ward fucking here, ward here. I don't care. Stop warding this bush.
Yes, I abused that word too.
Yeah, everyone's used that ward. Everyone's used that ward. I've used that ward. But everyone's also abused that ward and used it to get a free kill because it doesn't do anything. Like, I've put this ward down, but I always feel bad when I do it. So, yeah, this is, like, very clear, like, vision hole. Yeah, so we don't see any backpings here. I would frantically backping, like, the moment I see this on the map or the moment I see them appear here because something else is happening, right?
Yeah.
A Jinx Yuumi, they don't give up free farm for nothing, like, pretty much ever, right? You can typically assume internal logic in D4. You can't assume great internal logic, but you can't assume internal logic. If a Jinx with a Yuumi is leaving lane, they see gold somewhere else that they can get. There's, like, 6 minions here and a mid laner to catch them, so the gold they see is you two, right? Which means if they're moving, Warwick is somewhere else. and you guys don't have like really any jungle vision, and this isn't something I haven't talked about much. This isn't something I've talked about much, but we haven't done any jungle tracking, so we have no idea where Warwick is. So like this movement, being up here and not just like immediately fucking leaving, pretty bad in my opinion. Yeah, walking down here unnecessary. Getting the souls, like arguably unnecessary. That happens. You also even flash your Q to make it just a little bit easier for him to die. Very cool. So now we're down both sums on you. We're down Yasuo flash. We're down tempo. Ezreal does get to shove this wave in and reset without dying, and he can do this safely, so that's good for him. You get to keep pressuring the Zed, which is good. Do you know he doesn't have ult here? Are you aware of the timer?
Not really, but I think I might have exhaust.
Oh, you don't have exhaust because you just used it. This does kill you if instead of throwing his Q, like if he WE jumps in, auto RQs you, you're dead.
Yeah, but I'm too alpha.
Alpha as fuck, baby. We walk up and die like men. Just support cockiness. I get it.
Game where I'm not inking, but there's also those other games where I'll have like 20 deaths on Senna.
I was gonna say I can see how you would die a ton on Senna, right? Like I've been mentioning it a lot, but it's like it's minor stuff that in another game would get you killed. And there are reasons you're doing the things, which is part of the reason I'm like, okay, there's obviously a reason you're in Diamond, but what? Wow, yeah,
I question mark him so hard.
Oh god, yeah, that's Lamau, good night. Yeah, for sure. Jesus, that was cool.
I think I said in the chat, what the actual fuck was that?
Bro, no, I don't know, man. Like that's just D4. That's D4 going fucking crazy. Nice, Yasuo greeting for no, just fucking leave, brother. Brother, exit. Okay, whatever. We're watching bot. So we're walking back to bot lane. What do we have? We have Swifties. I assume this means we couldn't buy Umbreglaive. Would you prioritize Umbreglaive over Swifties?
If I could get it, yeah.
Okay, cool. I figured that was the priority. I just wanted to make sure. We do have a sweeper. We only have 5 vision score. And again, this is something that I haven't talked about much, but I'm going to want to go back and talk about it more in the VOD once we hit about 14 minutes. Or once this if this tower goes down here. Why the fuck are they recalling here? What do they? Do they not have resources? Like at all? Never mind. Not important to the coaching. What's important is that you guys are going to get the tower here, I think. So, okay, you do. Oh no, you don't. Okay, I would absolutely just walk here, sweep, walk here, drop a ward in river before walking up to this. I don't think you get a very small amount of gold out of this, but I would say the priority for a support should be like covering vision, then XP, then your scaling mechanic, whatever that is, then your support item, then everything else that the support has to do, right? But I would absolutely prioritize vision over getting these procs here. So like if you get these 3 procs and then walk up,
keep playing it. I think I might word it.
Oh yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying, right? Is if you get these 3 procs and then walk up and clear this ward, then like I would call that a misorder. You're showing on vision right here, for almost 5 seconds before walking up, right? If Warwick is on Krugs, you're probably dead here because Yuumi jumps off Jinx, goes on Warwick. Warwick runs up here. He's right here right now. You have no flash, and Warwick has W to catch you. Yuumi E to catch you. You're dead as fuck, right? Oh. Look at that. Warwick came from right here. So this is what I was talking about, right? So Warwick's going to show up, and this looks like you're both dead, but I actually don't know. There's definitely a...
Warwick missed one.
Christ. Okay, yeah. There's definitely a world where at least one of you live, so yeah, you die for this. Yeah, this is just, this is a death to priority, not warding here. I want to see, did he take the blast cone over 30 seconds ago? Is that what happened? So he sweeps this ward. So we see him. We see him on this ward, but he sweeps. Did I see him on map?
I think we just saw him sweep. But yeah, I get what you mean. I should look toward while my ADC is pushing.
Yeah.
not after, because maybe I would do it after, but then I feel like I'm losing time by doing that.
Yep.
So now I
So
realized that I need to do it while he's pushing. Like right now, I should be there.
yeah, so there's nothing that you can get from like checking these bushes. If you walk in and someone is here, you're dead. If you walk in and no one is there, nothing changes, right? What you can do instead is use this time to walk topside, still hover, get the souls and XP, but sweep this bush. Well, you don't have sweeper, but like that's an option. Or ward this bush, or walk into it, check for a red, and then walk out. Then pop your sweeper, walk into this bush, or walk up, put a ward here, walk down, put a ward here, and then this push is completely covered, right? Like Warwick can gank you from like maybe here on vision, he does that, maybe from here on vision, but basically no champ in the game besides champions with like global dashes can gank you from here on vision, right? Even if you're all the way up to the turret, you have the ability to get all the way back to like here before they make it down. So you putting higher priority preventative wards on pathing points is typically more important than your mission. So pathing points tends to be entrances and exits to jungle. So like this is a good ward, for example. This sees movement across this path, this path, this path, this path, right? It sees 4 movement points. Obviously Tribush is a great ward, you're aware of that. I like this ward because it sees anything that wards over here get swept or missed. It sees Blast Cone, which is very common. It sees jump over this wall, walk here, jump here, right? Which is common for any character with a low cooldown gap close. You'll see like a lot of assassins do this. You'll see, it's another good example. You could see Lee Sin ward hop here. Pit wards very often just sit in Dragon Pit, right? Anyone like that can take this gank path and that gets caught by this ward. You can even ward here if you feel comfortable, or you can ward on this lip right here along with a ward anywhere over here, and that will catch almost anything. Just getting creative with ward placements. Same thing as mid lane, not using this bush as your ward, right? You can ward here, here, here. Try to ward traffic points instead of bushes. And same thing, try to play for vision in traffic points instead of bushes, right? These individual bushes represent the same threat whether or not you face check them. We've seen this. Warwick commits a little bit of grief. Wow, Warwick actually dies. Gives a shutdown over to Ezreal says thank you. Yeah, 700 gold to the carry. Very cool. Ezreal picks up Mythic Caulfield, so Ezreal's fucking huge. Most CS, or tied with a range top from most CS in the game. He's got Mythic. He's got tier mostly stacked. He's got a 2-item spike coming soon as a mid-game AD. He is ready to take the entire game over. Okay. So, what do you want to do here? Like as a player. Not what do you do right now, but what do you want to do as a player?
I want XP here.
You want XP. Okay.
Yeah, because I think I'm starting to fall behind in XP.
You are definitely starting to fall behind in XP. It's not uncommon for supports to do that, but you are lower than your AD by not an insignificant margin. However, there is something more important you can do than EXP here. And that's deep vision. We saw all 3 of the people that were bot lane use all their cooldowns, get low, one of them died, they backed, and then action happened top. The odds of Warwick pathing top are pretty high, and even if Warwick doesn't path top, you know he doesn't have ult and you know he doesn't have flash. Your W is enough to get him off you in any case where you don't exactly face check him, and you have a sweeper, a stealth, and 2 skill shots to make that happen, right? You can walk very, very comfortably here, here, or here, and drop aggressive wards that spot jungle movement, right? And any of these wards could prevent any sort of dragon movement, right? If you have a ward here and here, they can't approach dragon at all, right? This is most of the movement from blue side to dragon completely cut off, and you have dragon coming up in, I can't see the timer because
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Possibly, looks like it.
Looks like, yeah, definitely looks like about 30 seconds, less than a minute because we can see the thing. I wish there was a button to bring up the like LCS style objective timers. I'm sure there is, and I'm just an idiot and don't know it. But again, this is the deep vision priority. I might hover here and get 7 because you're close to that breakpoint, but your levels aren't going to make a drastic difference. Your souls aren't going to make a drastic difference, and you're past the point in the game where that's the most important thing you can do. Right? Vision is now more important than your stats, and this is true for every role. But people just don't fucking get that. right? Like, mid laners will not give 3 CS to go put a pink down here, right? You're the support, you have the ability to have the fucking common sense to go put vision down. So you can go do it. In a better scenario, I would fucking assist ping Ezreal like twice, hard push this wave, and then say come ward with me, but that may not happen. So we see Zed walk across this, by the way. This is a pretty important tell. I would be incredibly surprised to learn that there is an award on my screen here when I click switch sides. Yeah, so he put a deep ward here. Anytime you see a mid laner walk across this wall on blue side or this wall on red side, they deep warded every single time. So that's another thing that you could do if you have just decided to go move, is you can go sweep over here and clear this. So you can drop a ward across the dragon pit here if you feel unsafe, or you can drop one here. You can drop a ward here on your way out or your way through river, and then you can walk over here and sweep this side of the jungle and remove whatever priority visions that's trying to get for dragon. Okay, so you do actually leave. I'm going to switch this back. But this is just like, you call it like a cursory sweep of your initial lane, which is fine to do, but with dragon coming up, I would prioritize that. We're going to fast forward a bit unless something happens here. And I'm about done because I tend to like to call these around 15 minutes unless someone wants specifically to talk about mid-late macro. But in solo queue, unfortunately, games tend to be decided by about 14-15 minutes.
I mean, looking at this game, who do you think wins?
I think you guys win from here. I don't remember who wins, but so you have Sion, which means that top lane, like the deaths and the pressure and stuff, basically don't matter. Sion outscales everybody in the entire game, no exceptions. You have Ezreal sent into Jinx Yuumi, which is like a relatively even scaling bot lane, but Ezreal is currently out-golding the Yuumi. He's hit a breakpoint that Jinx hasn't hit and Dragon's about to spawn, so unless something goes wrong, you guys win Dragon fight. Neither jungler has Mythic, which means that there isn't a jungle Mythic breakpoint. Mid has Prowlers, but has just used it to kill Yasuo, and you're aware of that because you see the death timers. So I would say that you're going to secure second Dragon, and because you have tempo, scaling from Sion and Senna, and a guaranteed second Dragon, I would say you have winning position here, despite the gold being in favor of the enemy team.
We get ganked here just by looking at it, because I see a lot of kills coming up for enemy team.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. So we see Warwick top. Zed's just killed Yasuo.
Oh, I do.
So we see the tower low. Is this y'all getting antsy? And yeah, okay. So you step up, not respecting the Yuumi snare. Jinx throws her traps a little early, but these might hit.
I think I miss.
I think this misses. It's not a huge deal that this misses, but like it sucks. I'm going to assume, yeah. So you are. I think you're dead despite this, even if this hits. You get the trade kill here, which is good. And obviously, at this point in the game, you would... Oh my god. Oh, that was ugly. I was going to say you'd much rather have... I was going to say, you'd much rather have Ezreal alive than Yuumi, but oh god, that's unfortunate. So, yeah. That looks like...
And I was like, you know what? You give a shutdown to her or something. It's better you die to her than Jinx.
Yeah, definitely not bad to take a shutdown death to the enemy support. That's something... When I hit over 5 kills, I like very actively look to like grief a 1-for-1 so I can die to like the support or the jungler. I don't think Ezreal had a shutdown there though. That was just bad. And I mean, you watch that, you know that was bad from the Ezreal like walking up and dying for free there. I will say, I think in a vacuum, you pressuring here to get this turret isn't bad, except that you don't have flash because you didn't ward last time you pressed up, right? And now we don't have vision on Dragon either. So, like, in a vacuum where Warwick isn't dying top like an idiot 20 seconds before Drag spawns, this is enemy Dragon. However, Zed's just burned all his cooldowns, so he can't contest Dragon. Yasuo's about to come back. Yumi's the only one alive, and she's low. Warwick is top lane. So, let's see. What do I think happens here? I mean... It looks like... Why am I getting Discord messages? Yeah, I'll talk to her in a bit. This is close, but definitely looks like y'all's Dragon. I would walk here to like move with the Yasuo because you see Warwick positioning here. This is a minor thing. You can sit on the dragon as well if you're scared of Warwick getting dove by the bot lane. Because like Mord is in a lot of trouble if enemy bot came around here like 5 seconds earlier. This is a secured dragon, very cool. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I think it might be greedy to go for these souls without your Q.
Oh, I'm spam pinging help.
What?
I was spam pinging for help. I said, please don't leave me.
Yeah, I see the assistance. Okay, so at this point, this looks pretty good, despite the low deaths. Definitely not a secured game by any means. We can talk about like the. Do you want to go into talking about like the macro mid late game?
I would speed run it, but I don't think this is the game I had to shoot. That's the Lux game.
Okay. Well, we can look through it real quick, but after that, I don't know. I don't think we need to look over it too much because.
Very hard here.
Oh yeah, what? Wait, what? Okay. I mean, I want to see what happened here because I'm curious, but. See, Zed come around here, try to go for Morden.
He never saw me, and I was waiting. I was like, wait, this is doable.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like flashing over the wall here and chasing. Good secure. Ezreal dies like an idiot because he's bad, but that's fine. I also like not walking up here. You have Sion pressuring top, you don't need to make another play. Wait. Did I just see... Oh, no, he dives. Okay. I thought I saw Yasuo get executed. Anyway, yeah. All I'm really going to say is, from what I've seen, heavily prioritize your own safety and vision priority and choke points over, like, small trade patterns. And then prioritize small trade patterns over moving to cover plays that have already happened.
Can you send me a screenshot of this? I guess at the end.
Of...
The notepad.
Yeah, I mean, I copy and paste the text, typically. I think that is somewhere around here. I don't remember exactly when. You did a pretty good job of assessing the win con in this game. It's just something I always want players to think about, so I mention it even if they're good at it. I never want it to become something that's unimportant. Yeah, support matchup priority you did pretty well with. I mean, these are kind of the same. These are the same like category, but it's like things that you shouldn't do versus things that you should do more of. Okay, cool. Seems like a pretty reasonable starting point. Okay, and I can edit this and add to it for anything we get from the Lux game that we want to make a note of. I'm gonna turn my stream off real quick and see what my other friend was sending me. Give me 1 second. Just wanna make sure it's not. Fucking hell. Okay. It's not important. That's the league stream. Share screen so I can see my cursor as well. Very cool. Okay. Lux game.
You can speedrun it.
Yeah, we'll go through a little bit.
I always pick Lux and Toonami because I think I always outpoke her.
I just wanted to see, yeah, alright. I'm gonna throw out there, game state. You guys should fucking destroy this game based on champ select. Lucian Nami beats the hell out of, individual skill shot based bot lanes. Gragas destroys Aurelia. Bel'Veth outscales Zac, and Fiora can match Tryndamere.
So we should lose the hell out of this game.
Oh, other way around. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you guys, this is a losing draft for sure. My bad, I had it backwards.
I wanted to fucking dodge because Zac is like 35% win rate.
I would dodge any game where my jungler's under 40% win rate.
Mid lane picking everything. I should have dodged.
Yep.
I said, okay, dude, I'm 1 game away.
I have it's a biased list, but I actually have a set of dodge rules for myself. I can write them out for you if you're curious what they are. They're definitely different for each player because each player, frankly, plays better and worse around different stuff. But, yeah, this is a rough draft. For a couple different reasons. So are we looking for poke level 1? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I want
Okay.
mana flow down stack.
Yeah, it's fine.
I got it.
The one thing that their comp really can't do is like threaten you level 1. Like none of their champs can kill you level 1 except if you face check Lucian Nami. So the first time you walk on Division, you're probably safe. Wait a minute, what the fuck?
They rules. They swapped.
Why? Which player did not want to play their matchup? Which one of you two motherfucker? Probably the Fiora. Probably the Fiora. The Fiora probably.
Tryndamere got
I-
absolutely butt blasted.
I assume that the Fiora was just scared of Tryndamere. Grag also destroys Tryndamere. By the way, this is a super winning matchup for Grag as well. Do you want to talk about the lane phase at all, or what in particular did you... Because you sounded
I
like...
think I absolutely shafted them in lane, and then
Okay.
mid-game it went really downhill because their top side was just too strong.
Okay.
They made a lot of mistakes.
I was going to say, the kills look like relatively even with y'all being slightly ahead, like most of the way through this like early game, so...
The first 15 minutes. straight
Gotcha.
up.
No, it's because Lucian Nami is pretty strong early, so you get first blood, Bel'Veth comes bot. You do take a death, but I mean that's fine. You got first blood, and your gold actually matters a lot in the Lucian Nami lane.
Actually got thrown off guard by that Velvet gank. Never expected it.
That was a very weird Bel'Veth gank. It might have been, since we're not looking at it, it's not exceptionally relevant, but it might have been trackable based on leashing.
I was like, huh? Velvet clear doesn't full clear?
Yeah, it's a little weird. So yeah, this is just like stuff that's happening. You guys are ahead. Cassio's a little behind, which is never great, but overall, because you're Lux and you do actually provide enough damage to make up for like your AD missing damage in the early game, it's fine as long as you're using that gold to prioritize getting your AD farm. Interesting. Lucian overcommits with Zac missing. Very good play for sure. I don't know how... Okay, Gragas and Trent are about even, but Grag got a kill, and then Fiora's just destroying Irelia. Don't know how that's happening. That probably shouldn't... Actually, no, that should probably happen. But this is all pretty normal. Like, nothing here is particularly off. You bought a Dark Seal early. Very good. I was going to mention that if you didn't. I was pretty sure that you were, aware of hedging with Dark Seal, because you definitely, seem to be knowledgeable enough about your items, but I thought I would mention it if you didn't. You can hedge on Dark Seal with Enchanters, by the way. Don't know if that's something you ever do. Okay, cool.
I just don't see any downside to buying it early.
Yeah, you're basically paying
Even Renata, I just go it.
You're paying 180 gold for the chance to have 1k
Snowball.
gold worth of AP plus. It's definitely worth doing. Especially because with the champs in the role that you play, you're going to end up with
We get flamed for doing it, and I
no,
still
no,
do it every game.
it's dumb. People like to flame for really minor build issues when it's just completely unnecessary. Good flash snare. Okay, so, I mean, this looks good so far. We're 1-to-1 dragon, we outscale, y'all are stomping bot lane, so you have a lot of priority, so we can go ahead and fast forward through this dragon, because it looks like...
mental boom in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, so is it, I have a question. How much of it is because of this lull in the action right here that lasts for about 2 minutes?
I think my top and... there was a fight around Baron where shit went really downhill, and everyone just mental boomed off of it.
So there's a fight at 20...
Nobody got Baron, but I think before the Red Tower, or right after it.
So there's one at 18 minutes. There's no
Probably that one.
Herald taken, but okay, yeah.
Probably that fight.
Sure, so we can just skip to this if you want to just talk about the
One
fight.
of these fights.
Yeah.
I think it's this one. Speed it up.
Cool. We'll...
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's this one.
Yeah, so...
My team fucking lost their mental.
Alright, so we're walking here. You two have prio. Let's cut to blue red vision. Please. Thank you, game. Actually, why the fuck is my chat here? We're gonna move this up off of the camera controls. So we see literally all of them having... So there's 4 of them right here. There's a 5th person that we saw somewhere bot side. We have priority top side, we're getting a turret. We have priority mid. We just shoved the wave. Y'all have gold advantage. Zac's on Herald. Nothing should go wrong here, so let's see what happens. And we're going to talk about all the lead up to this. So we don't have a ward here, but that's fine as long as a ward gets dropped somewhere around here. Maybe in the back of the pit as well. So you're just going to sit here and cover. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. I definitely like this. Get some poke. So there should immediately be a ward here. The moment you walk out of this bush, maybe even before, I would ward this. Okay, so now we don't have vision. We know Lucian's ulting here. Trinimir's just gotten the turret, and he's going to walk over to help. Irelia's walking to Herald. She does not have TP because she has Ignite. This is, I will say, in a vacuum, this is a mistake from Irelia. She should be splitting here, but okay. So I don't hate in a vacuum going for this poke. We see Lucian. Okay, so I don't hate going for the poke. But between these two champions, you are far more likely to die to Lucian Nami than you are to die to Bel'Veth Nami here, right? So I don't like the poke priority here of going for Bel'Veth. And especially if you E, yeah, so you E the Bel'Veth to follow up on poke. If she E's this, it doesn't matter. You don't do any damage. If she doesn't E it, Nami can heal her. And regardless, because Lucian can still move, he's just going to gun you down. So you lose flash. Cassio's about to lose a third of her health. She's going to ult. Let's see what Lucian does here. So, okay, Zac is shooting in as well.
Oh, that's a terrible Cassiopeia ult. No wonder we lost it.
So, solo ulting a Lucian is okay in a vacuum. We've got Tryndamere here. We know Bel'Veth, Lucian, and Nami are right here. We know Gragas is behind him because we saw him walking. So we can assume Nami, Bel'Veth, Gragas. Yeah, Lucian can for sure react to this, and he's probably expecting there to be a Cassio ult. I don't like this, but it does happen. Oh no, she W's. Okay, so that's not a terrible ult. Okay. This is where we know where the fight's starting. So you have, I think almost all, yes, your cooldowns are back up in 4 seconds. So because of this, you've gotten less than 30% of Bel'Veth's health. You're pushed back. We don't have vision until Zac shoots in, and this is a bad engage now that we know that everyone is right here. Tryndamere's late. Irelia's late. So this champion's not in the fight. This champion's late to the fight. So we have 2 people that have 4 seconds on their cooldowns, or more, right? Tryndamere's about 4 seconds to get aggressive, and you have 4 seconds to cast your spells. So you're down 2 players. They have all 4 players with basically everything ready. Neither of you has vision control. Your ward here is fine. This is a good ward, but there should be a second ward. If this is a spectator bug and you don't have a ward here, then a big part of the issue with this fight is the fact that you didn't buy another ward or didn't reset early. You do have 2 pinks, so there should be a pink in this bush, 100%. So Zach's going to miss. You're walking back up to help. We see Bel'Veth. We see Gragas. Aurelius 10 seconds. So what is the goal in this at this point in the fight?
This is where I'm super lost.
Okay. So right now, yeah. So Zach has missed his engage spell. We know that besides Zach missing his engage spell, we have no vision on their 5th member. We have Yu, who is only just now getting his cooldowns. We have Tryndamere, who's out of position, kind of. We have Cassiopeia, who's in position but has no frontline because their frontline's about to die. And Irelia won't be in the fight until it's borderline too late anyway. No one on your team is exceptionally tanky or able to stall. They have a lot of disruption, and they're all stacked. So I think it's fair to say that from this position, this is not a winnable fight, right? Like this, or from what we know, this looks bad. So what would you do here if now that you're looking at it separate, thinking clearly?
I'm trying not to fight anymore.
Yeah. Typically, it's like
I'm actually, even in the game, I'm trying not to fight, but the team's not gonna stop.
Yeah. So what I would love to see from you here is literally just standing like basically right here around Cassio, just a little bit behind max range throwing E's. Maybe you stand behind Tryndamere and look for poke. That's fine. It's a little greedy because if Gragas E ults you, you're both fucking dead and the game's over. But okay, so Grag is doing a little questionable stuff. Yeah, so the misposition here, walking to go for greedy poke, even though the fight is already...
you'll see why I walked there.
Well, we'll see, but...
Remember I said I didn't want to fight?
Mm-hmm. But, walking here to greed for poke forces you to play in this corner instead of in this corner, which means that you can get run down and killed over here. I won't know if this kills you. I haven't looked. I haven't seen. I would not be surprised to learn you die because you run over here.
You're about to get mind blown and say, oh shit.
Alright, I believe you. Bro, shit happens in D4. Really crazy shit happens.
Oh,
the Hex Gate. Okay. Gotcha. I forgot about Hex Gates. No, that does make sense. Okay, I don't hate that positioning. I will say, though... Let's see. Look.
I'm just waiting for the moment I choose. Yeah, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, so Gragas is looking at Cassiopeia.
Oh.
Irelia misses her ult. Okay, so these...
I see the problem is my teammates don't realize the fight is over.
That is the problem once the fight is over. But the fight doesn't have to be over, right? This doesn't have to be a lost fight. That is... Yeah, they don't need to keep chasing. You walking up here is fine and supporting as best you can. Stepping back is greedy here, though, and I think it gets... Yeah. Yeah, so walking up to support from max range here is okay, but I... Oh, you do live. Nice. Even get another kill. Very cool. I mean, this doesn't look like Mental Doom to me. This looks like they went 4 for 4, and no one got Herald.
Keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tryndamere is already tilted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Tryndamere tilted because he tried to make a play with Flash and it lost.
Same fight is about to happen again. Same exact fight.
Same exact fight.
Yep.
Cool. So we'll fast forward a bit because none of this particularly matters. So we're setting up. Just from this position.
But the next one, they're gonna get burned.
We got a sweep here. We got 2 wards here. No deep vision and no blue wards. No pink in the pit, but I assume this gets swept at some point, or you pink it or something. Overall, this is a good setup. So let's see. We don't have sums on Irelia. We don't have ult on Irelia, which is bad. We don't have ult on Tryndamere. Is this a spectator bug? This might be a spectator bug. If I jump it around, can I get these to reset? No, this is actually what the sums are. Okay, yeah, so this is... Okay, so everyone's like no sums. Everyone's no sums. Everyone used all their sums in the last fight. Okay. If I see something else, then I'm going to Flame Riot for spectator bugs and cry. Alright, so we're going to start Dragon. We no longer have vision here. We see Lucian here. We see Bel'Veth here. Okay, so I think I know what's going to happen. You guys are going to have small cooldowns down on Dragon. Dragon's going to go down. You're going to get cocky. One person's going to overextend. You're going to get chain swept.
Maybe. Let's see. Speed it up.
Yup. Oh, they just walked to Baron. That also makes sense.
Yeah. We're
Okay, so the fight happens at Baron. So we have no vision prio. There is a world where you can like ping assistance to Baron like way over here and say like walk with me to Baron vision, but that's a world that we don't live in because that's I think a fives only play. I don't think you can make that play in solo queue. Because you don't know that they're not going to contest Dragon. So we're gonna walk up a sweeper.
So right here, the move would have been, alright, just get the fuck out.
Yeah, I will say I would pink this bush the moment I walk up to it. If you
Yeah,
can't sweep to remove vision.
I started doing it multiple times now.
Yeah.
Or I just don't ward.
Okay. Wait, what the fuck am I looking at? Why are they standing right next to each other? Okay, whatever. I'm gonna step it back, but I'm gonna like fast forward because I really just want to watch like 5 seconds before. Okay. So Zac is in the back. Trinimir's way in front. I assume this is because Trinimir is a tilted little gamer. Trinimir gets caught by Gragas because his positioning is ass. Lucian gets free. Lucian Nami ult on 2. Gragas is very good. Does not matter. Okay, that. So Trinimir's one. Okay. Wait. Yeah, no, this is bad, right? Yeah, okay, this is as bad as I thought it was. So it's 3 for 2.
This is where Team Mental booms.
But I can see why Team Mental booms here. So what should happen here, like at a couple different points, obviously this shouldn't happen, but in a vacuum where Gragas goes here, bombs Trinimir, and then walks away, and then misses his ult, Irelia hits the ult on 3. Irelia should go in as a distraction. Trinimir should clean up one person in the backline, go 1 for 2, and then this guy should not fucking slingshot over the wall and throw the game. That's what he should do. Unfortunately, Zac is going to slingshot over the wall and throw the game.
Yeah, I didn't even rewatch this fight. I thought I could have done something different to win this.
I mean, you missed like NE. Like it says your skill cooldowns are up, but like, I mean, missing a single skill shot, I would never call that losing a fight unless you like flash to engage and missed like a Malphite ult, right? Like missing a fucking Luxie is not going to make or break any of these fights. This is greedy. I think you know this is greedy. I don't really need to tell you why this is like a mistake.
I think I had something here that I should. Oh yeah, I should have queued her. I would have lived if I just queued her instead. Like at the end.
So we queue Grag for poke. Yep, we see Fiora just at the wrong time. 3, 2,
like right here,
1.
I should have queued her and I would have killed her.
Yeah.
And I just noticed I fucking regretted that.
Looked
so
like
bad.
you were queuing her, but like she dashed across you.
Over me,
Yeah.
But I mean, I knew she was gonna dash too, so
It's
troll. I went for the greedier move.
Whatever it is, it just happened, and it's okay. There were a number of minor things. This doesn't feel like a game where people should be tilting, but it's D4, so everyone tilts off everything for no reason. I mean, the game still looks like very winnable. The Grag has a high KDA, but he's not strong and he's not playing well. He just hasn't died because he has Phase Rush. What?
Speed it up again.
You want to go to the next fight?
Yeah, I think next fight.
Okay. So we have no vision. Lucian is
I caught Lucian, I think.
No, you did. Yeah, you caught Lucian.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. We get a ward here. This is a good ward. I like this ward for Baron a lot. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna step it back real quick because I want to say, if you have another ward, you should run over here and put this down immediately. And if you have to pink this, that's fine. But like any Baron movement, even if you're faking Baron, putting the wards down to cover like a quote unquote Baron is really important. If they see a ward go down here and a ward go down here, and they have no vision on Baron, they're like, oh, they're all on Baron. Makes it far more convincing when you fake bush. So heavily prioritize Baron wards, whether you're faking or you're actually going for Baron.
I think the correct move here is not even attempt to Baron.
I agree. I mean, I think faking is fine. I think that's early, right? I think you pulled the trigger early. Here we're gonna step it back and go one at a time instead of two.
They have the what's that, Scuttler?
Oh, they can see.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're like, okay, they know what we're doing.
We can't do it just because the
Yeah, I mean the ult is early, but like it's fine to throw your QE for sure and like kind of give up the ghost a little bit. Okay, so Irelia griefs. Should never go on a Gragas solo as a melee. Zac is just lost. Irelia is too far in now because of Gragas. Trinimir's going to try to save this, but
Trinimir flames Irelia.
Trinimir should flame Irelia. Trinimir should also flame Zac. They still play well. I mean, this doesn't look bad. Looks like you won the fight because you can come here, you can throw the Q. Fiora manages to dodge it, and then Cassio. Oh, that E missed just barely. Yeah, it's like it's not even inherently your fault. Like it's definitely Cassio's fault for not exhausting. Yeah, no, I mean, The skill shots that missed aren't inherently your fault.
I
It's
guess
just the fact that
some
you're
games
playing
are just
Lux.
not winnable. I thought I could do something to win this game.
Well, so there are a lot of things that you could have done, I think, in these 3 fights. Vision control in both of the fights would have been at least somewhat helpful. More aggressively communicating with your teammates by pinging is also like an absolutely a thing you can do. I haven't been paying active direct attention to it, but I haven't seen a lot of pings from you on the side. And because you're making a number of the correct macro calls. Like for you, it's like, okay, they have vision here. We can't do Baron. I'm going to walk into this bush. I'm going to try to poke or get a pick, and then I'm just going to run. That's the correct play. But you should be backpinging people the moment that you throw your abilities, or before, right? Because if your team doesn't understand that you're not trying to look for a fight, then they're going to try to fight. They're going to try to play off of things that you're doing. You are playing a utility champion. You give vision when you walk up, and you're a support. They have gold. They see you doing something. They're like, oh, I'm going to play for it. Even if they're idiots, even if they're tilted, to some degree, they're going to be looking for your movement as flags. Same way everyone else does.
You'd think it would be obvious. You see me miss all my abilities just back
Oh,
off.
for sure. For sure.
The play's over.
You would think. But people don't always know that. And sometimes, like, there is no scenario where pinging here damages your ability to win, and there's a 20% chance Irelia doesn't queue forward and lose the game. Right? Same scenario.
I don't know what Zach is doing.
Yeah, Zach is trying to wait for the team to start Baron. He's trying to sneak it around this around thing here, right? Because he's an idiot. Because he's a fucking dumbass. Look, I think he even so he walks around, gets seen. So this is where you assist ping Zach 6 times. Right? Or type like Zach come and then assist ping Zach 6 times.
He back off and then he's trying to engage.
He's trying to counter engage when y'all get engaged on here. He's an idiot and he's doing it wrong and he's a fucking moron and he loses your team the game.
Same with like the bush next to.
Bro, he could just be standing here. He could be walking around here. He could be in the fucking bush because he's a tank. It does not matter. This is bad, but you can communicate to him that it's bad by assist pinging a different place or pinging on your way to a different place or back pinging or whatever. Communication has no downside here and it has the upside of possibly saving this fight. Same thing with the prior 2 fights. So, use pings more actively. I think these 2 things are almost even more important than anything else that we talked about in the Senna game. There's a chance that neither of those things change the outcome of this game at all. Your team tilts, griefs, and loses the game anyway. There's a chance that it wins you a lost game. I can absolutely see why after this fight, and after the prior 2 fights, Tryndamere starts being a dick, tilting everyone else, and then the game goes to shit. That makes complete sense.
I also think this Irelia, especially because I just remember she did something else even more retarded later.
Oh, dude, the Irelia is playing so terribly. The Irelia is abysmal. She's being carried by one of the strongest.
I think
yeah. We can cut to the last fight. We already saw this.
I'll tell you which one I'm talking about, and that's when I tilted. I was like, yeah, let's.
So Irelia gets Lucian here. You and Irelia get Lucian. You flank, which is good. You guys get Baron for free, which is very cool. Welcome to D4. After slow losing 3 fights in a row and being down gold, you just get Baron for free. Very neat. Okay. This looks like... Okay, so Tryndamere just fucking died. Okay, this looks... Okay. Is this it? Is this Irelia committing...
She just keeps doing the same shit, like fighting for no reason.
Yeah, so she should... She's a little caught, but she should... Oh no, she just fucking sits in the bush. Yeah, I mean, this is bad. She gets the ward, and then she turns around and tries to engage. Misses the ult, misses the E. Doesn't press Q to get her stacks. Doesn't W until she's almost dead. Tryndamere walks up to try to save it. Yeah. This is another case where either backpinging does nothing or it saves the game, right? And despite the fights going poorly, you guys' like your gold lead from bot lane and their bad movement and their bad frankly their bad Gragas. Good flash, yeah.
Really
Yeah, this was winnable until the Nexus exploded, right? Or at least for the next 10 minutes it's still winnable, right? Like maybe if they get Soul it's no longer winnable,
I'm about to
but
start throwing in a second, pretty bad.
yeah, I mean I'd be tilted. So you just walk up greedy for this. I assume you're trying to look for the steal. They get they get the dragon because I mean, not your fault. Not like I would expect you to steal that. It just would have been cool if you could have. Get some easy poke. Okay, I don't see. Is this where no kills happen for the next while? Okay. So basically basically what happened was you won lane. Your team was worse than their team. Nothing happened for 2 minutes, which put you in a macro dead zone. Then 3 slowly but sequentially worse fights happened. And then your team got caught and both your carries died, right? This is a pretty common occurrence right now.
I don't even know if that's getting caught. It's just
regardless of whether they inted, they went for a pick that didn't work, or they got caught, doesn't matter. Call it getting caught because it simplifies the game state, right? It's what happened was they were out of position and died. Saying getting caught communicates that. Whether they were out of position and died because they're fucking stupid, or they're out of position and died because of a minor mechanical misplay, doesn't matter.
speed it up.
Yep. So we saw this. Yeah. We saw all this. We're all aware of what happens here.
We get nothing off of it.
Yeah, nothing happens with Baron because all your carries have lost it and no one is, and people are tilted. So you get a tower here, which is good. This should immediately translate into macro vision and a bot side rotation, which it does. Nothing particular happens, which it shouldn't, but Baron still is usable to hold tempo up until this point. Now here you should walk to top side, put as much aggressive vision as you can. Here's one, you're hovering Cassiopeia, walk to the next one, get more vision. Still good. No one's responding to Tryndamere. I don't know if anyone's pinging it. And then we can watch this last fight as well. Yeah, I got you. Alright, so this...
I mean, Nami did something very smart here. Go back.
Where are we looking?
Replay this real quick. Look at me. I'm fishing for picks here.
Yeah. Okay, so Bel'Veth and Nami are hovering here. We'll slow it down. Do you get waved here?
And I'm like, oh, no way she doesn't die. And I look at her item, she treads.
Ah, yeah, Merc treads. Yep.
And then, at this right here, everyone's like, alright, FF, guys. Please FF. We're done.
Yeah, this is Aurelia doing the same thing she's done all game, where she's just overconfident. And the way she's playing works if A, she's a better player, and B, she has 3,000 more gold because she farms better. But, she's down 100 CS from where she should be to play like this. You're not TF Blade. Nami wave, and then because you're trying to cover for Aurelia's mistakes. Alright, so, yeah, one more thing. I've seen it a little bit, but it happened here. So this one is one I die to a lot as well.
I think that's why I say that Diamond feels easier than that. That's the reasoning right there.
Because there are less mistakes to cover for.
Yep.
That's fair.
Less missing, less complete interplays.
Yeah, there's less flipping, less griefing, little less tilting, not much, but at least when people tilt, they're tilting because they They're just tilting because they're assholes. They're not tilting because every single person is out of their mind, tryharding, ready to win every single game.
Damn, ranked is disabled right.
Ah, very cool. Oh yeah, the patch is in a couple hours because it's Wednesday. Okay.
I don't think there's anything worth watching. I get caught a couple times.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, this game is over. Reasonably. If your team is tilted, the game is over. Despite it being very even. The game should not be over from here, and we can keep looking if you want, but like your team gets one kill and then loses Baron and loses the game. So
It just becomes very hard against their champs. They have too much.
yeah.
Every game when I'm playing, like, I feel like I'm the hard focus because I don't know why.
I mean, this game.
I think I'm the hard focus for their team.
So this game you have the most gold, and you're the easiest champion for a majority of their team to kill. Like, Gragas has a very easy time killing mages with no mobility from a long range, because E into an almost max range ult can catch you from, like, literally out of Fog of War vision, right? If Bel'Veth ever, like, gets into range to Q into W into Q you, you are basically instantly dead in a free reset. Not only do you lose fights to Fiora, you can very easily give her free parries to stun somebody else. And Lucian can just ult you and kill you with Nami slow. So, like, every single one of their champions has a way to kill you almost instantly here. Lucian can E, Bel'Veth can Q. So they also have a ton of micro dashes, which makes playing Lux hard, because all of your skill shots are dodgeable with micro dashes, right? Fiora Q, Bel'Veth Q, and Lucian E all dodge Lux skill shots very efficiently. And while Gragas can't, because his hitbox is huge and his E is slow, he can just E forward as he gets bound and ignore, like, the better part of the skill shots, the snares duration. So your champ struggles a lot in most of the champions they're playing in team fights. You can make up for this with gold, but that didn't happen. You can also make up for it with team, and that didn't happen. Like, your team could have been humans, and it would have been better, but, like, you had losing team comp, and Irelia decided to throw the game over and over again. Oh, I want to fucking... Oh, God. What the fuck is that? Hate that Gragas build. Cool. Yeah, I don't really think that there's much more to get from this game. We got a pretty good idea of how you fight, and the two big errors that you're making in fighting, which is you're not prioritizing your own vision in the middle of or at the very start of a fight enough, and then you're overextending to cover for teams' misplays, which sometimes works. Like over here, you were able to pick up, like, I think 2 or 3 additional kills for just 1 additional death, which is good. But here you died for free. Sometimes that matters, sometimes it doesn't. Like, at this point in the game, when your team is tilted, it's a little worrying, but those kinds of deaths, again, add up. So those are probably the big things that I would take away from these fights. We didn't take the time to look at the macro, but I will also say that there wasn't...
I think we did a good job in the last game.
Yeah. For the only mid-late macro thing I'll mention, and I mention this for every single support player no matter what the situation, I have no idea how relevant it is to your play or not. Do you know what the concept of a vision turn is? Okay, so it's just a term meant to explain a specific pattern of vision that occurs in League of Legends. The pattern is that stealth wards last between 90 minutes and 2 seconds when they get put down, I believe. 90 seconds and 3 minutes. 90 minutes and 2 seconds? I am fucking tired. Holy shit. Between 1.5 and 3 minutes. As a result, most of the time, when an objective is going to be warded, the support will go ward it and put wards down between 1.5 and 2 minutes before it spawns. This is in competitive play at high elo. If you do this and your opponents don't, and they take the standard timing, they're going to walk into the dragon between 1 minute and 30 seconds before dragon spawns, right? Like, that's... If you're preventative warding dragon, that's about when you would expect to go do it. And when you do it, you go to clear vision. Let's say that you put this ward down, and it's going to live till dragon. Dragon's in less than 1 minute. If the opposing support walks here on their own, or with one other person, and clears this ward, and you're right here, you can just kill them for free, right? Throw a Lux Bind, they're both dead. Zac E, they're both dead, right? This is the basic idea of the concept of vision turns, that as long as you're putting your wards down a full 1.5 minutes before and then resetting, when your opponents go to step up, they're going to take their turn clearing your vision and placing theirs, and during their turn, because you've already taken your turn, you can counter their turn. You can play during their turn, you can attack and kill them during their turn, because they chose to take their turn later. The basic way to make sure you're able to do this is to put 2 to 3 wards, basically just dump your Sightstone and reset 1.5 minutes before an objective spawns. If this happens, and your opponents respond in a way that is typical of solo queue, They're going to show up at the objective between a minute and 30 seconds before dragon spawns, and if you assist ping constantly and play to contest it, you can almost always get kills off it, which guarantees the objective. That's like the basic idea of it. Obviously it changes from game to game, but that's the concept. And I think it is completely worth leaving whatever thing you're covering with low investment or low effort as a support to just go ward, reset, and walk back down a minute and a half before dragon in solo queue.
That's good. Right now, like,
Okay. Think that is a pretty good list of stuff.
pretty long list,
Yeah, but I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. That's League. There's so much to work on at so many points in time. I feel pretty comfortable that a top-level LCS pro could coach a Challenger solo queue player and have a similar list. That being said, anything I mentioned that seemed weird, doesn't make sense, any other questions, anything else we can talk about, go over, whatever.
I think everything is pretty good.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. I always like getting to talk about League analytically, and I enjoy it. So thank you. Thank you for being, open and receptive to discussion, and thank you for being, good and intelligent and making it a fun discussion. Appreciate that.
Imagine I got to play support when I played competitively.
Yeah, I would have loved to have you on the team scrimming this summer, for example. This is the first scrims that I ran were this summer, so
I was like plat 3, maybe 2.
Yeah.
I got put on the B team,
yeah.
and I got demoted to C team. Not because I was bad, but stuff happened with other players.
Mm-hmm.
Because the A team support got demoted too, so I had to get demoted.
Ah.
We won like every game
Yeah.
on the B team with me, and they lost every game after.
Oh, feels fucking
bad.
Feels fucking bad.
And then we won every game on the C team till COVID hit and all of our internets went to shit, and the game was unplayable.
Yeah. B team actually.
The C team was like all diamonds except me.
Yeah.
That's it game.
I know that up until COVID, UTSA's teams were all really high elo.
Yeah. Next season, I played support. I was on B team again.
Yeah.
But I just felt like my jungler was doing nothing all game, so I was like, you know what? You support, I jungle. Then Hanu gets banned, and I have to go on A team.
I'm an
I
ass.
forgot this mid laner's name. He can't play the game anymore, so B team mid laner also get moves, and then he has champ.
I wonder who
He's
the
never played competitive before, so it's sucked.
A team mid laner.
He's like a one trick.
I don't know who that would have been
But
off the
we
top of
did
my
pretty
head.
well despite that. We lost one best of 3 that we should have won. Or
Oh.
we needed to. It was our first best of 3. We needed to win that one to make playoffs. We lost that because it was literally like 2 days of practice,
Yeah.
and the other teams had been playing for already half a season.
Yeah. I know. Let's see. Both teams, both A and B, made it to playoffs in fall when I played. We lost the one game I didn't play, and then when I was playing, we went 4-1, and then we ended up losing our playoff game because we were against arguably the best team in the bracket. Because I think we were 8th seed of the 8 people in playoffs, and because we were 8th seed, we were against 1st seed. We got just absolutely fucking bopped. And then the next season, I felt really bad because I had my fucking medical issues come up in the middle of A-team season. It's
Like, I think when I play
pretty unfortunate.
competitively, my issue was like not communicating enough
Yeah.
as support. But it was just literally because I felt like everybody was higher level than me, so they're supposed to be better, and they should be the ones talk calling me.
It's a bad mentality to get
But it
into.
was,
I know
yeah, it was
exactly what you're talking
everybody's
about.
like, no, you need to speak.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I know where my game knowledge sits, and I know that it's reasonably high, but when I get on a team with high elo players, I just kind of assume that they want to talk and I stay quiet.
Yeah.
And that was actually a problem on A team, because the prior mid laner was one of the two people doing a lot of shot calling. So when
Who was it?
Ken.
Yeah, Ken was the one who left when I
Yeah,
had to go to
I know.
A
I,
team.
oh, did
Yeah, if
was that
Ken
when
was
Tyler came up and subbed for a game or two for A team?
is Tyler.
Tanko Seka?
No,
Different
please
player.
no. He was on B team.
Yeah, he was on B team. He was my
Wait,
B
no,
team mid.
I think he got demoted from B team.
That sounds right.
He was basically Echo one trick, could not play
Yes.
any other champ. That
Yes.
was the issue.
We
He
yeah.
tried to learn them, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. We basically didn't pick him Echo in summer scrims,
Yeah.
and it didn't go well. But yeah, he was aware that he was pretty much a one trick. He just wanted to play comp, so that's fine. I wish we had had a better mid, but I
Yeah,
was
if we
uh
had
I was coach,
like
so
like I said, we were one series away from making playoffs, and that was the first series we played that we should needed to win, but we lost. And I was like, imagine if we had Ken, I think we actually win
oh dude, yeah, Ken
every
was
game.
Ken was really good.
A lot of every game we would win early and just have worse macro because we're near to competitive compared to the other teams. That's how we lost every game. Every game we shit on every team early game.
All right, well it is 1 a.m. and apparently I am tired, so I am going to go to sleep.
Adios. Thanks for your
Adios,
help.
man. Yeah, it was a good time. Appreciate you. I'll catch you later.